Alrighty. So, it's after 11 o'clock a.m. Rocky and I are still laying here in bed. Look at his tail. I get a kick out of his tail. For some reason, I always find that funny and cute. Anyway, Rocky and I are laying here in bed still because we're lazy boneses. And there's no work today or anything. I'm looking at Japanese trucks, what they call K trucks, or I guess Kia or whatever trucks. I'm seriously thinking about importing a Japanese truck because I want to get my business started. And I can get a Japanese truck over here for $5,000 in good shape and with low miles on it and everything. It'd just be a small truck, but it'd be all right for what I'm doing. Just to do dump runs and to, say, load a rototiller onto the back of it and go around and till gardens and carry my tools and things like that. It'd be fine for that because I want to get my business started again, my property cleaning business, which I lost when I had all that trouble with the con artist there and bought that bad truck and was he did a bunch of things. He scavenged it for parts while it was supposed to be away being safetied. He didn't safety it. I ended up with a different truck than the one I bought, basically. It had different tires on it. It had a different radiator in it. There was a bunch of stuff that he did that scavenged it for parts to put on the truck he was driving, which was the same type of truck but a couple of years older. And then it was supposed to be safetied and it wasn't. And it ended up being a very expensive ordeal, and I ended up with a truck I couldn't drive. So, and in debt too. On top of that, I ended up having to spend money I didn't have, and I ended up losing at least 2 jobs that I had lined up that were spin-offs from a job I did, and I ended up losing that work because I had no vehicle then. So I want to rebuild that business because I'm good at that. I think I finally found something that I'm good at, and so I want to get back into that. But here in North America, you can spend $5,000 on a truck. At least in Canada you can. And end up with a truck you'll have to spend another $5,000 on just to get it on the road, and even then it won't be any good. They're looking for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 here now for trucks that have over 300,000 kilometers on them and that are rusted out and that have engine and transmission problems, and it's crazy. Anyway, basically scrap trucks. But like I say, even with all the importation cost and everything, it's fairly cheap to buy one of those over there, but the cost comes with all the fees and the transportation and stuff like that. Because, of course, all the middlemen who are dealing with it, they have to be paid, and that's not unreasonable. If they're doing a job, they should be paid for it. The government, of course, has to get their money. The Japanese government has to get theirs, and the Canadian government has to get theirs. Then there's, like I say, there's all the cost of transportation, which is quite high, the shipping cost, and then the overland cost to transport it to and from the port, to the port in Japan, from the auction house, and then from the port in Canada to where I am. The port in Canada is in Vancouver, so it's pretty much on the opposite end of this country, and this is a big country. So I did a little research, and it looks like I'd be looking at $1,000 to $1,500 just to ship the truck across Canada. So I mean, I could buy a truck in Japan for under $1,000, or definitely for under $2,000, and a lot of them sell even for under $1,000 in good shape. But the problem is all the shipping and whatnot. So I'm looking at Japanese mini trucks anyway as a possibility, as something that I could use to get my business started again. Plus, they're unique, and you don't see very many of them around here. In Ontario, you don't see hardly any. Actually, it would be a good business to get into for somebody who's into selling cars. because there's very few people doing it in Ontario right now. And it would be profitable for anybody who sells these things. You know, anybody who's willing to sell these things, it would be profitable for them anyway. So, yeah. Okay, there we go. There's Rocky again. So that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm looking at doing. I really want to get started again and get working again. I really need to get working again. And I've already got an account with a company that does this, that actually does the bidding and whatnot. We're not allowed to bid. You have to be registered in Japan as a car dealer to bid. But anyway, I'm running out of time. My phone's going to tell me to shut up, so I'm going to. I hope you're all having a good morning,